I know that this question looks like some pure basic algebra, the kind of stuff that you've been doing in school for a long time. You really need to resist the urge to treat everything that looks like algebra. There's no reason to start moving the x's around and adding things across this inequality sign. You're asking for trouble because there's a lot of potential for careless mistakes in that, right? You lose a negative, or there's rules about that inequality sign that everybody forgets, or at least could forget in the moment. So the best solution here is guess and check, right? They're asking us a very direct question. There's only 4 possible answers here. One of them has to be right, so just start somewhere and kind of test things out. Now with inequalities, I tend to start either on either end, either with something like -1 or -5 in this case, just because, well, the way inequalities work, there's usually kind of like a range, and so something on the end of that range is more likely to be right. But the point is, I'm trying to find which one is not a solution. So if I started with A, I would just put that in. 3 times -1 minus 5 is greater than or equal to 4 times -1 minus 3. And now without doing any algebra, just arithmetic. 3 times -1 is -3. 4 times -1 is -4. And -3 minus 5 is -8. -4 minus 3 is -7. Is -8 greater than -7? No. If you have trouble with that, think about a number line, right? If you think about a number line, right, 0, and then we're going to go -6, -7, -8. Numbers to the right are greater. Numbers to the left are less. And so -8 is less than -7. I know that it kind of messes with your head a little bit because you're like, oh, well, 8 is bigger than 7. But negatives work the opposite way, right? They're moving in a different direction. So the bigger the number, the smaller the number, if that makes any sense. And look, if I guessed wrong, if A wasn't the answer, I would just do this exact same thing with a different number, with a different choice, but I'm done. I've proven an A answer. The best thing about guess and check is once it checks, you're done. Your guess is good. You can move on. Now, I think it's mostly fine, to do the algebra in this case, because you might subtract 3x here and add 3. And so we would get something like -2 is greater than or equal to x, or maybe a better way to think of it is x is less than or equal to -2, and only choice A satisfies that condition, or I should say doesn't satisfy that condition. But I'm worried not about this particular question causing a careless mistake. I'm worried about future versions of this question, right? Ones that are slightly harder, ones that do throw in a trap. And so what we want to do is get the habits in place for these things that are going to help us when it does get harder later on. And so guess and check is a great way to decrease the possibility of careless algebra mistakes. Because instead of doing algebra, we're doing arithmetic, and numbers are safer. We like numbers. Letters scare us. Numbers are safer.